So what in the hell is going on in Sri Lanka? There's Sri Lanka's flag right there. You got the lion, right? The lion with a sword. The lion just kind of holding the sword, not really being aggressive with it, just kind of standing there tall. And you got the orange line, which of course, and the green line, and that of course represents Green Day, Orange Bowl, Orange Revolution, Lions love green. It looks like actually turquoise or something, doesn't it? A little off green. Anyways, here's some other images, Google images of what is going on in Sri Lanka. I just like saying Sri Lanka. Oh, Sri Lanka, don't you cry for me. Come from Alabama with the Sri Lanka on my knee. So Sri Lanka, they've taken over the presidential palace and all the government buildings, and they've taken over the prime minister palace, and they burnt down the prime minister palace. They've taken over TV stations. Now that's a revolution. That's a revolution. Eat your heart out, Trumpers. Donald Trump supporters, pay attention to Sri Lanka. That's how you do a goddamn insurrection. Jesus Christ. Sri Lanka, this is an island nation just south of India. I'm sure you Confederate, you right-wing sons of, I'm sure you know all, but in the Indian Ocean, you got Sri Lanka, right? Just south of India. India is the largest democracy in the world. Sri Lanka, apparently it's a socialist communist, the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. Well, the money became worthless. They're standing for hours. There's gas shortages. They're standing for hours in line to get gasoline. Now, the farmers in Netherlands, they're mad as fuck too over some COVID stuff, I think, mask mandates and whatnot. There's like a Netherlands-Dutch freedom convoy, but this is different. Sri Lanka is a revolution. This is a revolution. And what did Malcolm X say about revolutions? Revolutions overturn systems. Revolutions destroy systems. So eat your heart out, you Trumpin', dumb, sycophantic, obedient fool with daddy issues, and stop believing fucking lies. Oh, the authoritarian dictator said a lie? Well, shit, you should base your entire life on it. I heard that the communists are running Sri Lanka, the CCCP. So I'm not for sure where they are on, transgendered rights and some other, sort of cultural abortion rights and, whatever. But apparently Sri Lanka is like full-blown Marxist, Leninist, Maoist, Stalinist, communist. Jesus Christ. They might be too woke. If that's the case, they might be too woke. Now, apparently both Japan and China has invested in Sri Lanka. They both hold 10% of Sri Lanka's debt. Major debt is also held by some private investment corporations such as BlackRock. BlackRock holds a bunch of debt. In fact, it's the private investment corporations that hold most of Sri Lanka's debt. According to Kim Iverson, the reason why Sri Lanka's entire economy has collapsed was because they banned chemical fertilizer, nitrogen. They banned chemical fertilizer. They're going to go completely, purely, all organic, which is a great end. That's a great ideal for society, is it not? But some people say we still need the chemicals. We still need the pesticides. And fertilizers are still needed. Maybe they are. But for what? The corporate massive waves of, grain and wheat? If we're doing all organic, then you need to diversify 10 to 20 to 30 different crops and trade with your neighbors and try to figure out where the market is. Start a greenhouse right now. Sri Lanka, start growing your own. America, the food supply is fucked. I heard just because it rains and there just so happens to be a 6-inch layer of topsoil that's fertile. That's the only reason we eat today. They're going after farmers in different ways, controlled burns and here and there. Kim Iverson actually suggested, it'd be better than banning nitrogen for, farmers, banning private jets. They also talked about some sort of socially aware EKG score. So, let's see here. Farmers, self-sufficient. So, Sri Lanka used to be self-sufficient, but after the ban of chemical for the COVID, the economy, after all of this had happened, they used to be self-sufficient, but they've taken a 50% cut in production of food. They used to be self-sufficient. Now they're importing their food. And why? Because the damn presidents, they're too communistic, too woke. They're too woke. They cared about the climate too much. You want to make all agricultural, purely organic, no pollution? How can you raise crops without a bunch of pollutants? How can you do it? We're not ready for that yet. So, Gotabaya, the president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Sayonara, Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Oh, Rajapaksa, you son of a bitch. You pile of shit, motherfucker. The president motorcade speeding away from the presidential palace. They went to the international airport in Colombo. So the president is like, sayonara, Sri Lanka. You don't want me to be your president? Well, I'm going to Botswana, you son of a bitch. No siree. Amid massive protests. So basically the people in the streets need to stay peaceful. And they don't need to commit crimes. You need the revolutionary forces to establish a brand new presidency, a brand new constitution, a brand new legislature, a brand new Supreme Court. You're going to need at least 50 to 100 legislators, 5 to 10 Supreme Court justices, and just one president. And maybe that Kylie Jenner, since $2 billion, Sri Lanka is worth $2 billion, and Kylie Jenner is worth $2 billion. So they're basically, husband and wife when it comes to economics anyways, or, twins or something. I don't know how you want to. But Kylie Jenner, she's got $2 billion. Sri Lanka's got $2 billion. You probably should just go ahead and elect Kylie Jenner, Sri Lanka. Make sure you have 3 branches of government. Make sure you got initiative, referendum, and recall. And that brand spanking new constitution, why don't you go ahead and put 100 freedoms in there? And also ranked choice voting. Go ahead and be more progressive and more democratic and more, for individual freedoms than the United States of America. Be for ranked choice voting and 100 freedoms. They got a state of emergency has been called for. So what's going to happen? Is the state going to smash the people? The people need to take this moment, take this opportunity, and just take over the entire. Get rid of all the government, establish a brand new government, grow the fuck up, become an adult. You get to go ahead and say how you want society to be. The president's gone, the prime minister's gone, the government's gone. There was a lawyer that said the people's struggle is going on successfully. Get that lawyer to be the president. The riot police, they're still doing their water cannons. The Sri Lanka people, they got the numbers. They've taken the presidency and the prime minister, 50% inflation, food, water, medicine, fuel. These are necessities. The government fucked it up. Fuck the government. Now you got to get your shit together. The government's fucked. It's overturned. It's destroyed. The system is overturned and destroyed. That's a revolution. But you got reactionaries, you got conservatives, you got authoritarians, you got fascists that will try to exploit the moment. Now, Gravitas, they said that Sri Lanka went bankrupt 2 months ago. They said for a bunch of reasons. They said there's a tanking currency, inflation, a huge debt, bleeding foreign reserves. They banned the chemical fertilizers. They mentioned that too, but they were also talking about they did it to save foreign reserves. And by trying to save foreign reserves, they killed farm output. Production fell by 50%. COVID killed tourism. 13% of Sri Lanka economies was tourism. So agriculture was hit hard. Tourism was hit hard. And the president promised tax cuts. And then 52% of the Sri Lankans voted for the president that promised tax cuts. How are you going to cut the taxes and then do the infrastructure? How are you going to do the welfare? The country went bankrupt. He was spending more than what he had, did tax cuts. It made no sense. The government's spending more than what they took in. Weak production, COVID, everything stopped. Less taxes. My theory is that there's not enough small businesses in Sri Lanka. Probably not enough Milton Friedman capitalism. Fuck jobs. Everybody needs a small business. In America, if you don't have a job or a small business, you got to have income somehow, right? So everybody in Sri Lanka, all 22 million people in Sri Lanka need to have small businesses. And that's essentially my take on Sri Lanka. Here's some facts about Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a nation state, 22 million people, a democratic socialist. I had a Wikipedia page. It's an island nation right there by India. It's been there for a long time. 150,000 years ago, they had civilizations. It's an island nation right by India, so a lot of people want to like put their bombs right there on. It's kind of like their Cuba. So, you'll have China and maybe America want to put some bombs on Sri Lanka because that way you'll have them, pointed right at India in case India and Pakistan, in case them two bastards. Well, hell, Pakistan might want to try to put a bomb on a military base on Sri Lanka as well. So that's everything I know about Sri Lanka.